the laundry shop open until 2 a.m. A bedtime story in 7 chapters. Chapter 1. The Suitcase Full of Heat. The first thing Clara Bennett noticed about Bangkok at 1:30 in the morning was that the city still seemed awake in places where most cities would already be dreaming. The airport itself had felt almost suspended outside of time. Bright floors polished to reflections, soft announcements echoing through the arrivals hall, travelers moving with the exhausted determination of people carrying too many bags and too many plans. But outside the sliding doors, the world changed immediately. The air wrapped around her, not merely warm, alive. After the cold dryness of Berlin in January, the heat felt almost personal. Moisture settled instantly against her skin. The scent of rain-damp concrete, mixed with frying garlic, petrol, jasmine flowers, and something faintly smoky she couldn't identify. Somewhere nearby, someone was grilling meat over charcoal despite the hour. Clara stood beside the curb with her backpack hanging heavily from one shoulder and watched the city breathe around her. Motorbikes slid through the darkness like schools of fish. Taxi lights glowed pink and green. A monk in orange robes walked calmly through the midnight crowd as though time itself moved more slowly around him. She had not slept properly in almost 3 days. The decision to come to Thailand had happened in the sort of sudden, irreversible way that important decisions sometimes do. One difficult meeting, one too long winter. One evening, sitting alone in her apartment, staring at snow collecting against the windows, while realizing she could no longer remember the last time she had felt genuinely happy, 2 weeks later, she had resigned from her job. 3 weeks later, she had packed a suitcase. And now here she was, Bangkok, a city she knew almost entirely through photographs, travel blogs, overheard conversations, and the strangely emotional videos people uploaded online about convenience stores and rainy streets and noodle stalls open at impossible hours. Her hostel was somewhere near Ari. She had written the address carefully in a small notebook because her phone battery had died halfway through the flight. This seemed, in retrospect, avoidable. The taxi driver who eventually agreed to take her spoke almost no English. Clara spoke absolutely no Thai. But they communicated successfully through the ancient international language of maps, gestures, smiles, and mutual optimism. The taxi slid into the sleeping city. Bangkok at night was softer than she expected. There were still lights everywhere, glowing signs, apartment windows, shrines flickering gold at street corners, but beneath the brightness there was a gentleness to the hour. Vendors sat quietly beside folded carts. Security guards leaned back in plastic chairs watching small televisions. Cats moved confidently through alleyways with the serene authority of creatures who understood the city better than humans ever could. Clara pressed her forehead lightly against the taxi window. Rain streaks from an earlier storm blurred the neon into watercolor colors. Red, gold, blue, green. The city looked painted. By the time the taxi reached Ari, the streets had grown quieter still. The driver stopped outside a narrow side street lined with low apartment buildings, tangled electrical wires, tiny cafes hidden behind plants, and one glowing laundromat tucked beneath a faded apartment block. The sign above it flickered softly. Laundry open until 2 a.m. The hostel entrance, unfortunately, was dark, locked, closed. Clara stared at the gate, then checked the notebook, then checked the gate again. The reception desk inside was empty. She rang the bell. Nothing. Again, nothing. A handwritten sign taped beside the door informed her in cheerful English, back in 10 minutes. It did not specify which 10 minutes. Clara sighed. She sat down on her suitcase beneath the hostel awning. The night hummed quietly around her, and across the street, beneath the glow of fluorescent lights and the slow turning of washing machines, the laundromat remained awake. Chapter 2. The War Machines. 20 minutes later, Clara crossed the street, not because she needed laundry done, mostly because the laundromat looked warm and occupied and somehow reassuring. The glass door opened with a tiny electronic chime. Cool air brushed against her face. Inside, the laundromat was unexpectedly beautiful. Not beautiful in the deliberate way of expensive places. Not curated. Not designed for photographs. but beautiful in the accidental, deeply human way that certain ordinary places become when they are cared for consistently over long periods of time. The room glowed pale gold beneath fluorescent lights softened by age. Rows of silver washing machines lined one wall. Dryers hummed steadily along the back. Plastic baskets were stacked neatly in towers. A television mounted in the corner played a Thai soap opera at very low volume while subtitles rolled unnoticed across the bottom of the screen. The air smelled of detergent, warm cotton, fabric softener, and rain. A woman sat behind the folding counter reading a book. She looked up as Clara entered, perhaps 60 years old. Silver hair tied carefully back. Round glasses balanced low on her nose. A face carrying the particular calmness of someone who no longer rushed for anyone. She smiled immediately. "Late night?" she asked in gentle English. Clara laughed softly. "Apparently." The woman nodded as though this explained everything. "Bangkok does this to people," she said. Clara wasn't entirely sure what that meant, but it felt correct. She ordered a small bottle tea from the refrigerator near the counter simply because it seemed polite to buy something. The woman opened it for her automatically. "Hostel closed?" "I think so. Or sleeping." Said the woman knowingly. Outside, distant thunder rolled somewhere beyond the buildings. Clara sat near the window while the washing machines turned slowly in glowing circles. There's something deeply calming about laundromats at night. The repetition, the rhythm, the certainty. Wash, spin, dry, fold. Everything moving steadily toward cleanliness, toward order. The woman behind the counter returned to her book. Clara sipped the sweet tea and watched shirts and towels tumble endlessly behind glass. After several silent minutes, the woman spoke again. "Traveling alone?" "Yes." "Good," she said. Clara blinked. "Good?" The woman smiled. When people travel alone, they finally hear themselves think. Outside, a motorbike passed through the West Street. Inside, warm dryers hummed like distant engines. Clara suddenly realized she hadn't truly relaxed in months, maybe years. Chapter 3. The Shirt with No Name. At 1:50 in the morning, a young man entered carrying an enormous blue laundry bag over one shoulder. He looked exhausted, not dramatically exhausted, not cinematic exhaustion, just the honest tiredness of someone who had been awake too long doing practical things. His hair was damp from humidity. His black delivery jacket was soaked dark around the collar. He nodded politely to the woman at the counter. "Sawadi Krub, Auntie Molly." "Late again," she observed. "Always late," he agreed. He noticed Clara only after beginning to load the washing machine. "Tourist?" he asked. "Extremely obvious?" "Only slightly." His English was careful but warm. His name was Arun. He worked for a food delivery service. He finished most nights around 1:30. And apparently he did his laundry here every Tuesday and Friday because his apartment washing machine had broken 2 years ago, and both he and the landlord had mutually decided not to make this anyone's problem. Clara liked him immediately. There are certain people whose presence lowers the emotional temperature of a room. Arun seemed to possess that quality naturally. He loaded uniforms into the machine with practiced efficiency. 1 black jacket, 3 company shirts, 2 towels, 1 mysterious sock without a partner. "You don't mind Bangkok heat yet?" he asked. "I think my soul left my body at the airport." Arun laughed quietly. "You get used to it after 6 months." 6 months? Maybe 8. The washing machine beeped. He poured detergent with the precise seriousness of someone conducting chemistry. "Why Thailand?" he asked. Clara considered this. There were complicated answers. Burnout, loneliness, the slow realization that she had constructed a life that looked successful from the outside while feeling increasingly unrecognizable from within. But at 1:50 in the morning, inside a Bangkok laundromat, the honest answer emerged simpler. "I think I forgot how to enjoy being alive for a while," she said. Arun nodded immediately. Not surprised, not uncomfortable, just understanding. "Bangkok is good for remembering," he said. The machine began to spin. Warm light reflected across the wet street outside. And for reasons Clara couldn't entirely explain, she felt less alone than she had on the entire flight. Chapter 4. Rain on Phahaniothin Road. At exactly 2:13 in the morning, the rain began. Bangkok rain does not arrive gradually. It arrives like a decision. One moment, the air sits heavy and waiting. The next, the sky opens completely. Rain hammered against the laundromat windows. The street disappeared behind silver sheets of water. Motorbikes pulled beneath awnings. A street vendor rushed to cover baskets of fruit with blue plastic tarps. The neon pharmacy sign across the road blurred into liquid color. Inside, the laundromat became a tiny floating world of warmth and spinning light. Auntie Mally made instant coffee for everyone without asking. The coffee was extremely sweet, extremely strong, perfect. The three of them sat near the folding tables while rain flooded the gutters outside. Arun folded shirts. Auntie Molly continued reading her book between conversations. Clara watched water race down the glass. First time in Thailand? Auntie Molly asked. Yes. You picked good season. This is good season? Rain means cooler. Clara decided not to argue. The dryers rotated steadily behind them. A tiny orange cat appeared outside beneath the awning, completely dry, entirely self-possessed. The cat stared through the glass as though evaluating whether humanity deserved interaction. Auntie Molly opened the door slightly. The cat entered immediately. Clearly, this arrangement had existed for some time. His name is Coconut, she explained. Does he belong to you? Clara asked. No, said Auntie Molly. He belongs to Bangkok. Coconut leapt gracefully onto an empty plastic chair, then curled into a perfect circle and fell asleep almost instantly. The rain continued, and slowly, gently, without Clara noticing exactly when it happened, the laundromat stopped feeling like a place she happened to be. It began feeling like somewhere she belonged for the night. Chapter 5. The Folding of Small Things. The hostel owner finally arrived at 3:20 in the morning. He was apologetic, profusely apologetic. There had apparently been a family emergency involving an uncle, a motorcycle, and a durian. Clara did not fully understand the details, but by then she no longer minded the delay. In fact, part of her regretted leaving. She stood near the laundromat entrance with her suitcase while the rain softened outside. You come back, Auntie Molly said firmly, even if you don't need laundry. I probably will, Clara admitted. Arun raised a folded shirt in farewell. Bangkok remembers people who stay awake with it, he said. The sentence lingered with her. Over the following weeks, Clara discovered he was right. She returned to the laundromat often, sometimes with actual laundry, sometimes simply because the place had become part of her map of comfort. She learned the rhythms of the neighborhood. The old man who washed exactly 3 white shirts every Thursday, the university students who arrived after midnight carrying baskets full of impossible quantities of clothing, the nurse who sat quietly drinking soy milk while waiting for her uniforms to dry, the musician who practiced guitar softly outside under the awning during storms, and always, the hum of machines, warm folded towels, rain against glass. The tiny electronic chime above the door. Clara began sleeping better. She started exploring the city during the day. Temples, canals, markets, tiny coffee shops hidden behind plants. But at night, she returned to the laundromat. Not because it was exciting, because it was kind. There is a difference. One evening, she asked Auntie Molly why the shop stayed open until 2. The older woman considered this carefully. People need somewhere to go at night, she said finally, then added, especially when they don't know what they are doing with their life. Clara laughed so suddenly she nearly spilled her tea. Is it that obvious? To older women? Yes. Chapter 6. The City That Softened Her. Weeks passed. Bangkok shifted slowly from overwhelming to familiar. Clara learned which street carts sold the best mango sticky rice. She learned how to order iced coffee in Thai. She learned that crossing Bangkok streets required both courage and philosophical acceptance. Most importantly, she learned how to stop rushing. This took time. Western cities often teach people to move through life as though permanently late for something invisible. Bangkok seemed less interested in urgency, not slower exactly. The city itself moved constantly, but emotionally, there was space here. People paused. People lingered. People sat outside convenience stores drinking tea at midnight simply because the night was pleasant. Clara found herself changing in small ways. She stopped checking emails obsessively. She stopped apologizing for resting. She stopped treating every moment like productivity could somehow save her from herself. One humid evening, while folding laundry beside Arun, she realized she had gone almost 3 full days without thinking about the job she left behind. This felt miraculous. The laundromat machines turned steadily beside them. Outside, Bangkok glowed. "You seem happier now," Arun observed. Clara smiled. "I think maybe I'm becoming a person again." He nodded as though this made perfect sense. "Happen slowly," he said. Auntie Molly looked up from her book. "Like drying thick blankets," she added. "You think nothing is changing. Then suddenly they are warm all the way through." Clara wrote that sentence in her journal later that night. Chapter 7, The Last Load. Her final week arrived quietly. By then, the neighborhood had become threaded into her life. The fruit seller waved when she passed. The cafe owner knew her coffee order. The stray cats accepted her presence with conditional tolerance. And the laundromat felt almost impossible to explain to people back home. How could she describe it? How do you explain that healing sometimes arrives not through dramatic transformation, but through ordinary places repeating their kindness consistently? On her last evening in Bangkok, Clara carried one final basket of laundry across the street. The air smelled of incoming rain. Auntie Molly was balancing receipts. Arun had arrived early with his delivery uniforms. Coconut slept in his usual chair. "Last wash," Clara announced. Everyone reacted with the appropriate sadness reserved for temporary friendships that became unexpectedly important. The washing machines began their slow turning. Outside, the city moved softly through the humid night. Clara folded her clothes carefully when they finished drying. Cotton shirts, light dresses, a rain jacket she had bought at Chatuchak Market, all carrying now the faint, clean scent of this city. At one point, she realized Auntie Molly was watching her. "What?" Clara asked. The older woman smiled gently. "You arrived here looking like someone holding their breath," she said. "Now you look like someone who finally exhaled." Clara felt tears rise unexpectedly behind her eyes. Not dramatic sadness. Not even really sadness at all. Just the quiet emotional fullness that comes when a place changes you slightly for the better. Arun handed her a neatly folded shirt. "You come back someday," he said. "I think I will," Clara replied. And she meant it. Outside, rain finally began again. Soft this time. Gentle. The laundromat glowed warm against the wet Bangkok street. Epilogue. What remains warm? The laundromat remained open until 2 in the morning. Every night. Machines turned. Dryers hummed. Rain arrived and departed. People entered carrying tiredness and left carrying folded clothes warm from the dryer. The city continued. Tourists came and went. Apartment lights blinked awake and asleep. Motorbikes moved endlessly through the night. And somewhere among the thousands of ordinary evenings that passed beneath the fluorescent lights of that small Bangkok laundromat, there remained the quiet memory of a woman from Berlin who arrived exhausted and uncertain and slowly remembered how to rest. Perhaps places remember people differently than humans do, not through names, not through photographs, but through atmosphere, through the feeling left behind, the warmth, the quiet, the softened edges of difficult days. If laundromats could speak, perhaps this one would say, "People come here carrying more than laundry, and sometimes they leave lighter." Outside, somewhere in Bangkok, rain taps softly against neon signs. A motorbike passes through the dark. A washing machine turns steadily beneath warm lights. And if you listen carefully enough, very late at night, you might still hear the tiny electronic chime above the glass door, opening gently for someone tired, someone lost, someone arriving exactly where they needed to be. Sleep well, the end. Thailand is full of stories hidden in ordinary places. If you would like to discover more of them together, please subscribe to Thailand Through Eyes. And if there is somewhere in Thailand you wish to visit through story, leave your suggestion below. Perhaps our next journey will begin there.